Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, and you're with me, Arun Sharma, and taking feedback from a lot of you about what you've been asking me in the comments or in the comment section of the previous few sessions that I've taken. I decided that I'll pick up one theme at a time based on the questions that have come up on the last few sessions, and of course we'll continue the general chit chat sessions also, where you can discuss your career queries and your career objectives with us, etc. But today I wanted to actually focus my session, these short sessions. I'm going to take these 15-20 minute sessions with you on the channel, and I wanted to focus on the ideas that I wanted to convey for developing your data interpretation logical reasoning scores. So the theme of the session is what do you do for your DILR? And typically, I mean, you need not be doing badly in DILR to be. Yeah, it's my pleasure, Jigar and Rivan, and welcome everybody to the session. So it might not be that you're doing badly in DILR, but data interpretation logical reasoning में किसी भी point पे अगर तुम एक set add कर सकते हो, you can add one set to what you're doing, currently doing in your mock tests. So automatically, what happens is your scale or your score suddenly jumps by 10, 15 marks, 10, 12 marks. So the basic challenge, and I'm a teacher, so I love going back to the blackboard. So let me or rather the whiteboard now. So let me uh, get back to a window here, and let's use a free form tool to write stuff here that will that will help me communicate with you what I want to communicate with you. And the key questions, I mean, that one comes to, I mean, as we said, as I was saying, you need not be a bad scorer in DLR. You might be solving three sets in DLR, in which case you're amongst the best people who are currently solving DLR. And but if you can get a fourth set, if you can do plus one extra set, because DLR में कुछ भी add होगा तो एक extra set add होगा. So if you can if you can go for a fourth set, an extra set, the and add one set to yourself, to where you are, you end up adding 12 marks. Nothing else gives you 12 marks at one go. And if it's a six question set, as they were in CAT 2018 2020, it adds 18 marks to your score at one shot. And nothing else, not many things, not many other things that we can think of will actually give you those 12 or 18 marks inside. So all those of you who are coming in, please remember this session is specifically for DLR. So I'm only taking DLR questions and DLR and your DLR strategy from this point. I'm just looking at that this thing. So it's a huge opportunity, because plus 18, if you're getting, let's say, 70 marks and you are heading to a 92 percentile, that was the 92 percentile level at in CAT in CAT 2020. So if you are at 70 marks, if you are at 92 percentile, you can add 18 marks to that, or even 12 marks to that. You hit the mid 80s, and if you hit the mid 80s, your percentile suddenly zooms to 95, 96, maybe even 97. So nothing else. Adding one question in quants, adding a couple of questions in verbal ability does not make this change happen. So hence, you whatever you are, you might be at this point solving zero to one sets set in the paper. Your target should be, so whatever your score is coming is with 0 to 1 set solved. Your target has to be to add one set to your solving experience. You might be at a point where you're solving 1 to 2 sets currently. You're currently solving 1 to 2 sets. Add one set to it, get to 2 to 3, and this jump happens. You might be currently solving 3 sets, add one set to it, get up to 4 sets, and 4 sets last year paper, anybody who solved 4 sets was very close to 100 percentile. So the question arises, ki, how do you decide whether a set is easy or tough? And of course, if you can avoid, let's say out of the 5 sets, one set is very tough, and 2 sets are tough, and 2 sets are normal. If this is the breakdown, like the cat 20 paper had, then being able to identify this and avoid this, and being able to do these will definitely add to your score, or maybe specifically being able to do this will definitely add to your score, specifically of in the 0 to 2 range, 0 to 2 set range. But at the same time, you really can't be too choosy. I mean, just through selection, you can get a score of 10, 15 that you're getting, net score of 10, 15 that you're getting. You can get that score to 20s or early 30s, but just through selection, it is not possible for you to get to 40s and 50s in DILR. And this is where the top guys are. 40s, 50s out of 72 marks is where the 100 percentile, 99 percentile live. So their scores are in this range. So while by selecting questions, better questions, and improving your selection, you can hit your mid 20s, or you can even hit your early 30s, but you will not be able to go all the way to 40s, 50s for with that. And somewhere, thank you so much, Ice Cold, for that appreciation. And somewhere along the line, somewhere down the line, you will have to somehow take a call of or take your preparation to that level, where no matter how many very tough sets there are, you're able to cross those sets. Now, how do we decide whether a set is? I mean, and I personally believe that even if you build this ability of deciding on whether a set is very tough or normal, the ability to decide this during a first reading. I mean, when you read a DI, when you go through a DILR set, when you go through a DILR set, when you go through a DILR set, the ability to read the set and decide during a first reading that whether it's a normal set, it's a tough set, or a very tough set. This uh, this decision is based on what? On what basis do you take that decision? So I have a way to look at it, and the way I look at it, and this is what I'll advise you to do, is to actually see. I mean, typically any DILR question of CAT will ask you maybe around 8 to 10 steps to do. DILR sets are between 8 to 10 to 12 steps long. They have this length of solution, and I have a very different way of deciding whether my set, if I'm solving for myself. Of course, जब मैं solve करता हूँ तो मेरे को तो I am not choosing, but still, whether I'm facing a tough set or a difficult or a very tough set or a normal set, I have to solve it because I am trying to solve everything. But one of the things that will definitely help me, even if my solving, even if I'm constrained to solve all the sets, is कि when I pick up these sets, I should know whether I'm dealing with a tough set or a very tough set or a normal set. ये मेरे को during my reading पता चलना चाहिए. और होता क्या है for most students, they go through a first reading of the set, and then they go through a second reading of the set, and then they go through maybe a third reading of the set, partial parts of the set. And during these readings, after 2 3 readings, they realize that whether the set belonged to the very tough category, the tough category, or the normal category. Now my contention is that the top guys are able to decide this on their first reading only. And one of the things, I don't know how you people decide whether it's tough or wrong. मतलब 8 मिनट बाद 10 मिनट बाद तो सबको पता चल ही जाता है कि टफ था कि वेरी टफ था. But one of the keys that you will need to develop if you want to get better at DI and your DILR scores will be to get the 3 minute warning sign, the 3 minute, 4 minute warning sign. So I don't want this to be a theoretical session. So I want to actually show you something in the context of this framework. And let me just stop my share and restart my share with with an actual paper of CAT 2020. I actually want to do a restart of the this thing. I want to take you through something in the CAT 20 paper. And when you look at a question like this, for example, this is the first set of the third of the third uh, uh, slot of CAT 20. Yeah, please do like the session. Please do lot of comments because YouTube needs to suggest the videos, etc. Only then does it give me the motivation to do this all the time. Uh, the whole idea is for us to grow at Mindworks and to grow the channel and the community. So we need your help. All of you need to be connected to us, and please do subscribe. Those of you who are watching this, please do subscribe to the session. So when I'm looking at this question, for example, in my first reading, what are the indications that tell me that this is a set that I should do or not do? So when I look at this, first of all, the first reading, mein, a survey of 600 schools was conducted to gather information about their online teaching processes. The following four facilities were studied: F1 own software, F2 trained teachers, F3 training materials, F4 all students having laptops. The following observations were summarized from the survey. Right now, when I start reading this point, अभी तक मेरे को Venn diagram नहीं दिखा है, but when I start reading this statement, I realize it's a four circle Venn diagram. And when I see it's a four circle Venn diagram, in a four circle Venn diagram, my mind should tell me that there are 16 areas in a four circle Venn diagram. And the difficulty level of set basically depends on how much work you have to do with these 9 clues. जैसे ये सेट है, इसमें भी 9 clues हैं, और अगर अगला सेट देखोगे यहाँ पे, इसमें भी 9 clues हैं, right? But if you check the reading of the first reading of the first set, पहला सेट का starting reading अगर करोगे तो you'll realize that the clues inside this set are much easier than the clues inside that. How do you decide that? How do you decide that? The decision is based on, I mean, when you get a clue, when you get a clue in a question, when you get a clue in a question, the decision about whether it's going to be an easy question or a tough question is basically decided on the proportion. I mean, see what happens when you are solving these DILR sets, which are based on reasoning. There'll be some clues which will give you handheld guidance. तुम्हारा हाथ पकड़ के guide करेंगे. There'll be some clues which will give you handheld guidance. And there'll be other clues that will not give you so much hand holding. They'll just give you the hint, and they'll ask you to generate the thoughts to use it. The thought generation to use the clues has to be from your side. यहाँ पे क्या करना है, हैंडल क्लूज में, हैंडल गाइडेंस वाले क्लूज में क्या करना है, you just have to obey what the clue is telling you and execute. Obey and execute. And this is the basic difference in a difficult quants question and a difficult easy quants question also. And a difficult quants question will force you, or even a DILR question or DILR clue will force you to think through कि अब क्या करना है मेरे को. And obeying and executing will not work there. यहाँ पे you have to create self-generated thoughts. The thoughts of what to do with this clue has to come from inside you. So naturally, questions in which the proportion of this is larger, will be more difficult. So if a question has less proportion of obey and execute clues and greater proportion of self-generated thoughts, that question will be more difficult than a question that has a greater proportion of obey and execute clues versus clues that require self-generated thought. So this will be an easier question. This will be an easier question, and this will be a tougher question in general. So if you have a question that has 10 steps, एवरी DILR क्वेश्चन तुम लास्ट 15-20 साल के पेपर को देख लो, जो भी डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन है DILR में, वो 8 से 10 से 12 स्टेप के होते हैं. So if you come across a question which has 10 steps, and out of those 10 steps, 8 steps are directly obey and execute, and 2 steps are self-generated thoughts, this will be much easier than a question where 2 steps, 3 steps are obey and execute, and 7 steps are self-generated thoughts, where you have to generate the thinking from there inside, from your own side. So naturally, so this is one of the things, one of the aspects that you should be willing to look at. And that's what I said. On the surface, both these questions, let's get back to that cat paper that I have downloaded there for you guys. One of my students' ka paper hai wo. So in this question, if I look at each of these clues, look at the nature of the clues, and this you should be able to spot in the first reading. चौथे रीडिंग में तो सबको समझ में आ जाता है कि इजी है. तीसरे रीडिंग, सेकंड रीडिंग में भी सबको समझ में आता है. हाइंडसाइट इज अ ग्रेट टीचर, as they say. But if you look at the nature of these clues, 1 to 9, 40 schools had all four. Now you have to obviously know the four circle Venn diagram, and you see when you read this clue 2, it's going directly and fitting into your picture of the Venn diagram. And likewise, the number of schools with only F1, only F2, you know the areas. When you build a picture, you know that these clue 3 is directly fitting into your this thing. It's just an obey and execute. Listen to what it is saying. You should know the figure. Just go and put it there. And if you keep doing that, if you look at clue 4, you look at clue 5, look at clue 6, they're all direct clues from the which are getting directly fitted in. And all you have to do is you have to obey the instructions and execute this. But if you look at the next one, if you see this, you see the first clue here. This is about number of trees, and each daughter has got certain number of plots, kind of story. And I've solved these two both. I think this question, of course, I've solved on the channel on a video also. Just go ahead and watch that. But Abha got 20 trees more than Chitra, but 6 less than Deepthi overall. This is an indirect clue. It's to be and the general thumb rule in every reasoning question or a reasoning based DI question is that unless you use all the clues, you're not going to get through. So during a first reading at the 3-minute point, if you have read the previous question and read the this thing, look at the second clue. It is not an obey and execute clue. You have to bring the problem to a point where this clue becomes usable. So it's an indirect clue. So you start looking at this, you realize that this is a more difficult question than the previous one. Right? So if you are choosing between these two, just on a cursory glance you can make out. नहीं तो क्या होता है कि लोगों को दिखता नहीं है कि people when they look at this, they are difficulty blind, so to say. They can't understand that this is a tougher question than that. जबकि ये 3 मिनट में दिख जाना चाहिए कि this is a tougher question than the previous one. So this is something. I mean, the 3-minute warning system is something you have to inbuilt into your solving. So that will improve your this thing. Of course, getting through one extra set means for some of you will. I mean, especially those of you who are only solving 1 or 2 sets in the paper, to get through one extra set, you just need to improve your choice. Yeah, you just have to improve your choice. But if you want to get from 3 sets to 4 sets, then you have to be able to say that, okay, no matter how difficult the question is, I'm going to be able to look at it, and if I'm looking at it 1-to-1, I'm always going to beat the question, right? So that confidence you'll have to build, and that's where the practice comes in. So the general chunking rule, अगर तुम्हारा देखो DI set solve नहीं हो रहा है, LR set solve नहीं हो रहा है, एक reason for your scores being low might be कि 5 सेट में से तुम्हारा 3 ही तुमको आता है, बाकी तो आते नहीं है. You don't have the capability to do those remaining 2. तो capability बढ़ाने के लिए the solution is basically that you pick up 50 sets in DI, 50 sets in LR. कभी भी चंकिंग करना चाहते हो, DI improve करना चाहते हो, 50 सेट उठा के सॉल्व कर जाओ. LR improve करना चाहते हो, 50 सेट उठा के सॉल्व कर जाओ. मेरे बुक से कर लो, मॉक टेस्ट से कर लो, प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन से कर लो. 50 सेट, 50 should be your target. 25 to 50. DI improve करना है, टेक अ चैलेंज 50 सेट्स करता हूँ, चलो नेक्स्ट 5 डेज में 50 सेट्स करता हूँ. LR improve करना है, next 5-7 days में 50 sets करता हूँ. Do those activities, and you will see that things will start improving for you. And the practice will have two elements. For those of you who only know 3 sets or 2 sets in the paper out of 5, तो तुमको तो your practice focus will be to make sure that you know more sets. That's one. But for those of you who are missing out on not solving that extra set, not because you don't know how to solve the sets, but because you're running out of time. So in that case, the 50 sets you pick up will have to be solved under time pressure and time constraints, right? So that's what you need to do, and these are some ideas that I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a quant session tomorrow, since you guys are asking for quants. And I'll be traveling tomorrow, so I'll be doing it from a different place. But we will do this thing. Yeah, my DILR book and mocks are enough. Thank you, SG. Thank you so much for that. Chalo, I'll see you tomorrow. And please do like the channel. Please do like the video, comment on the video, so that we get more views and more people can comment, and we have a bigger crowd in our sessions, etc. here. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Yeah, booster series में लेके आ रहा हूँ. Yeah, that's good. You reminded me. I'm doing a 50 must know questions before CAT. So most probably I'll start that from next week. Yeah. So we're starting that content, and we'll also look at more content coming up. Thank you so much, Aditya. Thanks. Bye bye. तो ये 50 must know questions पे कर रहे हैं हम लोग, and 50 quants questions that you must know before you go for CAT. So we'll be looking at that. Chalo. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Yeah, the series will be on YouTube. That will be on YouTube.